Shalom, shalom, set apart men. Welcome back to another episode of the Set Apart Man YouTube channel, where we teach men, young and old, how to live set apart, how to be more obedient to the word of the Most High, and how to navigate this world according to righteousness. You know, man, today's video is for my men out there that are, striving to find a wife, striving to have a nuclear, a biblical family, a strong family, a cohesive unit. I'm going to tell you, you've had a lot of men that have made the mistake of selecting a wife who is liberated in mind. And man, these families are not built on a strong foundation and the families fall apart. And today I'm going to break that down. I'm going to play a clip and I'm going to share something with you and break this down so you can understand this on a spiritual level. But before I roll this clip, man, I need you to do me a solid, man, because this is one thing you can do to show your support and it doesn't cost you absolutely anything. So I need you to hit that like button, smash that like button, go ahead and do it. I'll wait for it. Secondly, subscribe to the Set Apart Man YouTube channel. Man, if you're serious about your walk as a man and living set apart in this world. Thirdly, drop me a comment down below answering this question. Why do you think women who are liberated, especially in Western culture, struggle in marriage, struggle in biblical marriage, struggle in marriage, period? We can start the conversation and we can learn together as brethren. But without further ado, roll that footage.
As a reporter for the Chicago Daily Defender, and as a black woman married to a black man, I become deeply aware of the effects of this new black revolution on the relationship between black man and black woman. I see it among my own friends, and I also see it in my home.
I think that what's happening in America as far as black men and black women is concerned is that there's a revolution within a revolution. We are fighting our own woman. Our woman will not allow us to emerge as black men. No. But our black women, who has been put in this role of aiding white America, white structure, and castrating the black male, has continued doing this. She cannot live with us. It's not that we can't live with her.
Are you blaming us? Are you saying that it's our fault that this happened?
No, I'm not blaming black America women. I just said that I'm blaming the system.
Well, why do you say that we are castrating you? You say that you want to be the leaders. Okay, well, what about the black professional woman? Are you saying that there should be no black professional woman? Are you trying to deny black women the right to be creative, the right to function?
We're not asking for you to take a back seat. We're saying that you have got to be astute enough and can view the situation well enough where you just automatically know what your role is and step back. And whenever you want to have that aggressive thing,
Okay, how are you going to reprogram men so that they don't let us take over what's supposed to be their responsibility? And men that I have had dealings with, they are perfectly willing to sit back and let us do anything we want to.
I think you have to reprogram women.
No, you have to reprogram the man so that he will forcefully take what belongs to him, because women, as long as we can get, we're gonna get, and it's part of our being. We're going to do anything to you that you let us, whether we want to or not.
You don't want to live on the level of income that I can afford you in love.
I don't measure a man by how much money he can bring home. I measure a man by how he treats me. Whether when I'm tired and I'm sick and I'm scared, he's there.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room, you can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave like everyone else. You were born into bondage. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
All praise to the Most High Yah Shalom. Thank you for tuning in to another righteous, Ruach, spirit-filled episode of the Set Apart Man. Once again, I'm back at it in them trenches, handling that kingdom business. Man, I want to take all men and I want to break something down to you that you may have not heard. And for black men watching this, man, I want you to understand that that clip that you watched, man, what you heard was the race theory and race war in this is nothing more than a distraction for rebellion against the Most High. Why do I say that? Okay. Man, in that clip, what you have is women that are saying they're together with men, and rather than being cooperative in their understanding and their alignment with the will of the Most High, what you have is them pretty much bringing in, you know, the concept, well, white this, white that. And here's the reality, man. You think from back then, fast forward to today, man, if a man like myself is looking for a wife that is, you know, agreeable, cooperative, you know, feminine, in alignment with the will of the Most High, when we have a disagreement, you know, and she's cooperative, and I'm saying, this is what we're doing, who of another race is in the house casting their vote? It's all in the mind. That's what I want you to understand. Anytime you have women that have been liberated, and this term liberation, really, when we look at the word, has proven itself to be rebellion against the Most High. Man, this liberation is, when you hear women say, my body, my choice, it's about free will rather than obedience to the Most High. And if you are a man striving for a strong, cohesive family, you know, biblical marriage, you're not going to find that no matter, you know, no matter what you do, you're not going to find that in a liberated woman. A lot of these liberated women, man, they're running to Christianity because Christianity has pretty much allowed this liberation, and they're not teaching. When you think about it as a whole, you've got liberated women that have said in the church, that have said, well, my husband was a pastor and he died, so now that he died, I'm gonna take it over. They don't care about what the book says. But this is that liberation. It is that you can't tell me what to do. I don't have to listen to you. Man, anytime you take any woman from any nationality, any ethnicity, you know, any race, any country, anytime you have women that are rebelling against their men, man, you're not going to have men that are head over heels for these type of women. Okay? The liberated woman, man, she is against patriarchal structure. She is against divine order. And men, this is what I want to tell you, man. Marriage is a beautiful thing, man. I'm a married man. Marriage is a beautiful thing when it's done in the order of the Most High. Marriage gets super painful when it's done outside of divine order. Man, the book says women and children have become their oppressors. And one thing about this liberated woman, the reason, you know, she feels like she's justified is because the Most High Yah is not expedient with his judgment. So what do people do? The heart of mankind continues to sin, continues to transgress. But man, there is nowhere biblically where the Most High supported, you know, grown men following to the beat of the drum of a woman. Only place you're going to see that is mother and children. There are cases where there is prophetic or, you know, warnings that are given, but it is not, you know, women in a authoritative position. The Most High Yah in Genesis established that the man will have rule over woman. The book says, obey them that have rule over you. The liberated woman is against that. And men, man, when you think about that, man, Eve, when she ate that fruit, forbidden fruit, and then gave it to her husband, and then he bit it, who did the Most High Yah come address? Did he come address Eve, or did he come address Adam? No, he came and addressed Adam. Why? Because Adam is the head. Adam was the leader. So, you know, the liberated woman, really doesn't want to face the consequences. She will always be the victim, you know. And man, men, what I want you to realize is, man, if you hit yourself to a liberated woman and you allow her to take root, to take control over the house, man, it's still on you. Man, when that foundation falls, because it's gonna fall. It's not built on righteousness. It's going to fail. Man, you know, the Most High Yah is addressing you as a man, as a leader. Why did you let this happen? How did you let this happen? I put you in charge, and here I come back and it's all out of order. Man, this is just a warning, because man, you can take the race concept out of it. Man, if you take a Chinese woman rebelling against, you know, Chinese men, man, Chinese men ain't dealing with that. You take any ethnicity of woman, any race, any background, and their men aren't dealing with that. Man, there's been studies that show matriarchal leadership and matriarchal structures. Man, they at some point, they're going to cap out and tap out and have to depend on the patriarch. Have to. Man, these liberated women, what they do is their mindset is not of Yah. And a lot of men have been fooled into thinking that a lot of these liberated women have a relationship with the Most High Yah. Man, and I want men to understand that a lot of these liberated women have dead faith. Why do I say that? Because you should see in a woman's works, in a woman's actions, you should see what it is she believes. And if she has faith in the Most High, faith in Hamashiach, you should see righteousness. But oftentimes, that's not what you see. So what do they hide behind? Man, they hide behind, okay, man, I'm educated. I've got an education. I make more money. And what they do, man, the liberated woman equates that to, I should be in charge. Because I make more money, because I am educated and got multiple degrees, I've earned my right to be in charge. But where do you see this in a biblical sense? Where do you see the Most High Yah setting divine order according to education and according to income? You don't. When you think about it, Western culture, this is why when we look across all races, all nationalities, all ethnicities, you have educated women that are divorcing at a higher rate than uneducated women. It's letting you know that, man, this liberation, you take it from 1960s, 1970s till now, 50 years later, 50, 60 years later, it's failed. And one thing about this liberated spirit, you know, in women is, I tell men constantly, the set apart man striving to be set apart should be striving for the set apart woman. That's it, point blank, period. Because any other deviation from that is going to result to failure. It's going to result to a foundation that's not solid, that's not firm. But you have some of these women, man, they're 50 and 60 years old, and there's videos of these women getting on YouTube saying, I finally realized that it was me. I finally realized that I was the problem. This whole time, 50 years, men have been coming in trying to work with them, trying to do right by them, trying to get them to understand. But that liberated mindset really rebels against the Most High Yahweh. And by the time, man, they're 50 and 60, man, who's rushing to marry 50 and 60 years old? These women have had children. A lot of them because they rejected the order of the Most High Yah, and men coming along saying, you know what, I'll marry you. And they say, no, I ain't ready for marriage, my career. They've had children in the process. So a lot of them are single mothers. That's why when we see single mothers, man, that liberated mindset, I'm not saying all, but man, a lot of them, that mindset, that liberated rebellion against Yah, women empowerment, you know, that agenda has corrupted their mind. And man, what man is going to wait 50 years for his woman to come to her senses? This is why a lot of these women, man, they divorce. They're the first one run down to the courthouse to get divorced. Why? Because they're divorcing because I got bored. I got bored. What grown man tells his woman, man, I'm bored? No, you find something to do. But it's the liberated woman that, man, has, you know, man, her sense is not good. Her wisdom is carnal, it's earthly, it's sensual. It's not divine, it's not from above. I tell you, man, when you have the first thing, man, you have to look for in a woman is the fear of Yah, fear of the Most High. Fear is a great motivator. And when a woman has the fear of Yah in her, man, she's not going to do certain things. She's going to think twice. The liberated woman has no fear of Yah. This equality stuff, man, she thinks she's on the level of God. She thinks she's on the level of the Most High Yahweh. Man, what did the serpent offer her in the garden? He says, man, you will have knowledge of good and evil, and you will be like a God. Okay, wait a minute. Why did Lucifer get kicked out of the kingdom? Why was his dominion reduced to only on earth? He tried to exalt himself to the level of the Most High. That's rebellion. Man, when you're listening to a woman speak, the word says test the spirit. And oftentimes what gets us in trouble is, man, we want to test the flesh. We want to test the booty. We want to test the sex. And men, you know, when you think about that, the Most High Yah has never condoned or permitted fornication. But he does tell you to test the spirit. Because, hey, once you go up inside of her, man, either you're fulfilling a righteous duty or you're in fornication. When you think about testing a woman's spirit, men, you have to learn to listen spiritually. When you listen, in that clip that I played, man, when you listen to these women speak, do you hear anything that makes you remotely think that they are in support of divine order according to the word of Yah? And if you don't, man, I'm telling you, you need to part ways. You need to part ways, because how, in her mind, how she wants to build the house is a house that when the Most High Yah sees it, he's going to allow it to be plowed down. It's going to have to be uprooted because it's not of him. Look what the word says, part ways, for I never knew you, you worker of iniquity. The liberated woman is working iniquity. She wants to operate in free will, be the victim when the consequences come, you know, but her whole agenda was not to build anything with you righteously. She only wants to build in wickedness. Okay, you take a liberated woman, you can plant seed in her, but guess what? Man, she's not going to be a chase keeper of the home like the book says. She wants to pawn the children off elsewhere so she can do her liberated woman agenda. See, man, I want men to understand, bro, a woman's mind is everything. And in discussion, man, if you're getting those red flags, man, this woman's a little off. Stuff she's saying really on a spiritual sense, it's not adding up. For a woman that claims to be religious, to go to church, it ain't adding up. A lot of these liberated women hide in church. A lot of these women, once their liberation has backfired, man, that's when they run to Christianity. That's when they run to get heavily involved with Christendom. The Christian Sunday church, not the church of the book, not the ecclesia, not the congregation of the Israelite. No, not the called out assembly. No, they're just active participants in something that supports their liberation. And you got to think, man, a lot of these pastors, what do, man? They tickle the ears of these women, make these women think that they have a relationship with the Most High, when the whole time, when you think about it, the book says, man, they that turn their ears away from the law, man, their prayers are an abomination. A lot of these women, their prayers, Most High Yah ain't hearing their prayer. Why? Because they got that rebellion in their heart against his order, against his structure. You're not going to have a nuclear biblical family with a liberated woman, a so-called woke leftist, you know, it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. You got plenty of men that have tried, and guess what, man? Them families have fallen apart. man, I don't want men to think that, man, you can't have a woman who is educated, or you can't have a woman who is successful in her endeavors. But it comes down to, man, when a woman puts her endeavors over her biblical role and prioritizes it over her biblical role, man, that's when she's out of order. That's when she's out of order. You got to think, man, you can have a wife who does not have any worldly endeavors that is successful, but yet she's going to feed her children quality food. She's going to make sure that her children get the best. She's not willing to put them off to daycare because she knows that she cares about them the most. Nobody else is going to care for her children the way she does. So she don't even want to put her children in certain situations. But the liberated woman, man, she can be perfectly fine with it. And then when something goes wrong in the daycare, when something goes wrong in the public school, she doesn't want to blame her choices of pawning her children off. She's going to blame the daycare, the schooling system, because she really don't want to. I want you to think about it. You've got men out there that have righteous, set apart women who are educated, very successful in their endeavors. Husbands are pleased with them. And the reason is, man, their endeavors never superseded divine order and their biblical role as a woman, as a wife, as a mother. Anytime you got a woman moving where she takes whatever she wants to do and prioritizes over the will of the Most High, you ain't gonna have a successful marriage. The Most High Yah's not gonna look down and be like, yep, I'm pleased with that. He's not. And like I said, man, it takes sometimes 50, 60 years. Now we're seeing a lot of these older women in their 50s saying, man, I was the problem. But it's too late for them. It's too late for them. Ain't nobody coming to deal with you because if it took 50, I want you to understand how strong a spirit of rebellion is. If it took 50 years, and it didn't take 50 years before you came to senses, man, it is the environment. It is lifing that makes these women come to terms with saying, dang, bro, you know, I'm 50, 60 years old and don't have nothing but material things to show for it. I'm telling you, man, you have these women that get 50 years old and they be looking on social media and saying, dang, bro, I'm looking at my friend girl, man, and her and her husband just celebrated 30 years. You know, they in the Bahamas, they doing this. But the liberated woman, man, she don't care nothing about that while she's on a crash dummy mission. She don't care nothing about that. It's not until years later. And you think about that clip, man, that clip, 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, you know, fast forward to late 2020s, man, it hasn't gotten better at all. It's gotten worse. Statistically, it's getting worse. These women, these liberated women have said, man, we can raise our own children. But guess what that comes with? Still, they got to depend on a man. They got to depend on father. They got to depend on husband government. And we saw he's cutting sling load. You know, a lot of these states, man, are cracking down on this very thing. These women, I'm strong, independent, I'm educated, I'm successful, and I need alimony. Man, they're cutting all this mess off. It's getting worse. Children raised by this woman are not going to be the strongest in society and not thrive. I tell you, man, you have to be able to listen spiritually and discern. Man, I hear what this woman is saying, and oftentimes they will entangle you up. Man, they will lose you in this spaghetti noodle of revolution and movement and empowerment and liberation and education and success and career. But when you listen to it, when you ask them very direct questions, man, listen to the answer. Listen to it with your ears, process it through logic, process it through your understanding of divine order, structure, the will of the Most High Yah, and then listen spiritually to it. And if it doesn't pass the test, brothers, I'm telling you, man, don't lay a brick down with this woman and think you're gonna be able to build. It ain't gonna shake. It ain't gonna shake out the way you want. Once again, this is the Set Apart Man, kicking that thing gun barrel straight. And until next time, stay set apart, stay disciplined, and stay in the word of Yah. Bow.